This is the fifth in a series of videos that is providing an overview of the Wales safeguarding procedures as they apply to children at risk of harm. Running alongside this video is an additional video that provides a demonstration of the content of section 4 of the procedures as they are presented in the app itself. Section 4 describes the process and the responsibilities in relation to planning and intervention for children on the Child Protection Register. A reminder of the stages that have been followed that have determined the appropriateness of a child to be placed on the Child Protection Register. The Child Protection Register itself lists all the names of children in a local authority who have been identified as suffering or likely to suffer significant harm and who are currently subject to a care and support protection plan. It provides a record of all children in the area who were the subject of the plan, but have also been deregistered. The register is administered by the Social Services Department covering the area where the child is currently living. And it also provides a central point of contact for practitioners to establish whether a child they are concerned about is the subject of a care and support protection plan. As was described in the video for section 3, part 2, for all children placed on the register and who have a care and support protection plan in place, there will be a core group, which is the multi-agency group of practitioners who have the responsibility for developing, delivering the care and support protection plan. Whilst the core group will be convened by the care and support protection plan coordinator, who is the child social worker, it is important to emphasise that all members of the core group have equal ownership of and responsibility for the detailed care and support protection plan, and that they should cooperate to achieve the aims of the plan. In doing this, core group members have a responsibility to challenge and report concerns where they believe the plan is not protecting the child from risk of abuse, neglect, or other forms of harm. The aim of the first core group meeting, which will be held 10 working days from the initial Child Protection Conference, is to develop the outline care and support protection plan that was developed at the initial conference into a more detailed care and support protection plan. And in doing this, it will establish in detail what family members need to do to keep their children safe, ensuring that the family understand what's expected of them and why. The first core group meeting is also responsible for considering how practitioners can work specifically with the family to support them to make the necessary changes to improve the child's lived experience whilst protecting them from harm. It's important at this point to remind ourselves of some of the earlier principles that have been discussed in relation to playing to the family's strengths, taking the co-productive approach to developing plans and solutions in partnership with the family, understanding and aiming to support the outcomes of the child whilst adopting positive approaches to risk-taking. In doing this, the core group will clarify the roles and responsibilities of practitioners and family members who are engaged in the delivery of the care and support protection plan, and they will agree the frequency of contact with the child by the care and support protection plan coordinator, but also of other core group members. In addition, the first core group meeting will establish whether there are any further or any specialist assessments that are required and who will commission those. It will be important to establish child-focused milestones and specific outcome measures in order to ensure all members of the core group understand what life will be like for the child at the point of deregistration. This is an important point that should not be overlooked. It is not about establishing milestones that are focused on the conclusion or delivery of services. The key reference in that second bullet point is an understanding of what life will be like, and that we have the milestones and measures in place for us to know that we have reached that point. And finally, the core group, the initial core group, will be responsible for identifying any contingency arrangements in the event of family members not complying with the plan. Membership of the core group will be decided at the time of registration, but it will include the people who are referred to on the screen, the child themselves and/or their advocate with the child's agreement, the care and support protection coordinator, any relevant family members, which could include other children in the family, practitioners and/or foster caregivers or potentially residential home givers who have direct contact with the family, all practitioners who have significant involvement with the child and family. This could include practitioners from leaving care or relevant adult services. And if another agency becomes involved with the family whilst the child is on the child protection register, the coordinator may invite them then to join the core group. Any further core group meetings that need to take place should take place at least once every 6 weeks, but more frequently if the core group determine that this is necessary. Another key point to note in relation to core group meetings is that whilst the care and support protection coordinator will convene the core group, any practitioner member of the core group can chair the core group meetings. It is not the sole responsibility of the care and support protection coordinator. So some practice considerations in relation to the operation of core groups. It's important that everybody understands their contribution to the plan. This includes the child, the family, and all practitioners. It's essential that the needs of each child in a family are given due consideration in their own right. That child-centred outcome measures are used, not service-focused achievements. Professional shorthand and jargon must be avoided in order for the family and the child to understand the contents, the expectations, the contributions to the plan. And once again, we start to see the principles of the Social Services and Wellbeing Act being echoed. It's also important that there is ongoing consideration given to parental motivation and ability to change, adopting that strengths-based approach, making sure parents understand what is expected of them and the rationale around those expectations. But that in this, due consideration is given to what the family want to see change themselves. And by the family, we definitely include what the child themselves wants to see change. And we need to make sure that we're playing on strengths and celebrating successes at every opportunity. This will help to continue to build on, to enhance the engagement of the child and their parents. So the care and support protection plan, the success of its implementation will be dependent on the family actively engaging with the core group and in the subsequent implementation of the plan. Parents do need to demonstrate commitment to the plan and their efforts to change behaviours, but that this is done whilst focusing on achieving child-centred outcomes. But we need to be mindful of why some family members, parents in particular, may lack in their levels of engagement with the plan. They might lack the ability or the motivation to actively engage. And in this case, the core group needs to be specific about the behaviours that demonstrate a lack of engagement and assess what these behaviours are demonstrating, but that this is done in an open and honest way with the parents or the family members in order to give them the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment and to change their behaviours, to actively engage in the success of the plan. We also need to make sure that wherever possible, we're engaging the child in the core group process. Because at the end of the day, it's essential to establish whether the plan is improving the quality of their lives and protecting them from harm. So the Care and Support Protection Plan Coordinator, a reminder that that's the child social worker, will see the child alone at least every 10 working days. And at least one meeting every 4 weeks should be at the child's home. Part 10 of the Social Services and Wellbeing Act needs to be remembered with regards to the duties specified in that part of the legislation, particularly because children and young people are entitled to the active offer of advocacy from a statutory independent professional advocate. Some local authorities will have their own local arrangements, such as conference buddies, peer support, to support and facilitate children and young people's engagement in the process. Effective engagement of children in the core group process means we're providing the child with relevant and accessible information. We're providing them with a range of opportunities to express their wishes, feelings, and opinions as to the impact of the plan on their daily lives. That we're taking their opinions seriously, and that we are giving them opportunities to meet with the Care and Support Protection Coordinator on their own. So to the plan itself. The plan, as we've said, is implemented by the core group in direct contact with the child and family. The procedures set out that the aims of the Care and Support Protection Plan are to ultimately ensure the child is safe and prevent them from suffering further significant harm, but that we are promoting the child's wellbeing and development and identifying outcomes that are required to protect them from harm, but to improve that daily lived experience and to help the child to achieve their personal outcomes and what matters to them. The aim of the plan is to identify any developmental needs of the child and what support is required to meet those needs. To consider the support the family and wider family members require to help them to safeguard and promote the well-being of their child. So when we're developing the plan, there are a number of questions that can be considered in the process of formulating the plan. And again, as we read the questions out, you'll see there is a close connection to the structure of a good what matters conversation. So do we share an understanding of the concerns regarding significant harm and the ways in which they are impacting on the child? These will have been identified at the initial conference, but if we don't have that shared understanding, what are the differences and how will we address them? What do the parents and the child want to achieve? Remembering that there could be a difference in what the parent and the child want to achieve. What would the daily lived experience of the child look like if our concerns are addressed? This isn't purely through the eyes of the professional. This is what the daily lived experience of the child would be as they have described it. In light of this, what are our final outcome measures? What will success look like? How will we measure that success and how will we measure incremental change? What do we know about the parents' ability and motivation to engage with the plan? We can contribute to this by building on their strengths, considering any barriers that there may be to change, giving consideration to past parenting behaviour and engagement with services, but putting that in context. And then giving consideration then and asking the question as to how practitioners can demonstrate their commitment to support and work with the family to ensure the care and support protection needs of the child are met. So the plan has been running, but it will be essential then that the plan is reviewed. And the review conference, as described in the procedures, is tasked with making the decision as to whether a child on the register continues to be at risk of significant harm. If the decision is reached at the review conference that the child continues to be at risk, members of the conference need to consider whether the category of registration remains the same. They need to consider the existing care and support protection plan to safeguard and protect the child, and consider whether any changes are required to that plan. In terms of timings, the first Child Protection Review Conference should be held within 3 months of the initial Child Protection Conference, and further review conferences should be held at regular intervals, but at least every 6 months. During the review conference, practitioner members of the core group should be asked for their opinion before other members of the conference are asked for their views as to whether registration should continue. The questions or examples of questions we need to consider. Has the risk of harm to the child been reduced to the extent that the child is no longer at risk of significant harm? Remembering we need to be clear about our evidence in terms of the answers to these questions. Is the child likely to remain safe from harm with the continuation of the care and support protection plan? And what are the parents, carers, but also the child's views on registration? So what needs to be considered in practice at the review conference is that the focus is on evaluating quality changes to the daily lived experience of the child. Yes, we will be focusing on reducing the risk, but there is a very clear focus on the daily lived experience of the child. We will be giving consideration to the evidence that is necessary to demonstrate whether parenting has improved and had a positive impact on the child. And this evidence, in terms of the impact of parenting, should include the child's experience as well as the practitioner observation. When we bring together the core group reports, when they're combined, it will provide a comprehensive overview of the work undertaken by the core group and its effectiveness. Parents' engagement with the plan needs to be assessed separately. We also know that engagement of the child in the review process is essential. And as I've already alluded to, it's important to establish whether they believe the plan is having a positive impact on their lives. It may be that consideration needs to be given to a lack of engagement by parents. But the review is seeking to understand why parents haven't engaged with particular aspects of the plan and whether changes need to be made in order to further promote their engagement. Regardless of the nature of the discussions and the decisions, the family, so the parents and the child, should receive positive feedback for any engagement with the plan that we have seen then lead to positive outcomes for the child. And it's important, on that vein, that we celebrate success and everybody's contribution to that success in achieving the final child-focused outcomes. And the final part of the procedures in relation to section 4 will then cover the arrangements in relation to deregistration. The procedures make it clear that a child's name can only be removed from the Child Protection Register, and for the child to be identified as no longer requiring a care and support protection plan if the review conference determines that The child is no longer at continuing risk of significant harm, no longer requires protection by a care and support protection plan, or the child and family have moved permanently to another local authority area, or the child has reached 18, has passed away, or has permanently left the UK. What is important is that deregistration should never lead to the automatic withdrawal of care and support. And so consideration needs to be given as to whether services through a care and support plan will be required with parental agreement, and or whether support services will need to be provided, again with parental agreement, to help maintain the conditions that have led to the deregistration. So, to bring section 4 to a close, the important points to note in relation to the shift in culture and practice that come under section 4. We're moving from a child protection plan to a care and support protection plan. This isn't simply a change in name, but the nature of the content of the plan changes. The process by which we bring the plan together and review the plan changes in line with the principles of the Social Services and Wellbeing Act. We need to see a shift in practice that sees a tendency for core groups to be chaired by the social worker, and a culture that sees the ownership as sitting primarily with social services, to the shared responsibility of the core group, and recognition and acknowledgement that any practitioner member of the core group can chair the meetings. We move from culture and practice where the child's voice and experience was often overlooked, to the child's daily lived experience being at the centre of the discussions and the decisions, remembering that children and young people are entitled to advocacy, but whatever the advocacy report, however they are facilitated to contribute to the process, that it's about getting their own understanding of their lived experience. We move from child protection plans with the addition of written agreements to the care and support protection plan is the sole plan to protect and promote the well-being of children. And care and support protection planning and reviewing that was focused on the services being provided and the compliance of the parents. The shift comes to care and support protection planning and review that is underpinned by the principles of the Social Services and Wellbeing Act, and once again on improving the daily lived experience of the child.